guys, welcome to Box Football, and we're going to have an interesting debate today. This has been rumbling on TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere, all social media platforms. And this big debate, it's not the Messi and Ronaldo debate. It's the Casemiro versus Partey versus Rodri debate that's been going on. Who is the better center defensive midfielder? Yeah, who is the man? Who makes their team even better? And I think one thing before me and Jack gets into it, and before starting the video, the one thing we have agreed on is that they all make their team much better. I don't think either either player does something that the other doesn't do for their team. They're both influential for the team. Like, you take Casemiro out of the Manchester United team, God knows what happens to them. Partey out of the Arsenal team, Arsenal go plummeting down. And even, I get it, Manchester City are incredible, but you take Rodri out of that Manchester City team, we've seen what it was like in the Champions League final. You see him sometimes when he's not in there. Man City look very open. Like, he makes a big difference, and they all make a big difference. We're going to debate.
It's also that it's all different as well. That's a really important thing. We're not positionally fine. Call them a central defensive midfielder. If that makes you happy having a player in their box, that's absolutely fine. But what Rodri is asked to do at Man City is not the same as Partey, is not the same as etc., right? They do different roles within the position that they play. So we're not really comparing apples to apples here like you might think that we are. Also, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button.
Guys, please hit that
drop a like on the video. Anyway,
guys, Jack, thank you. I always forget to say that, guys. Please do hit that subscribe button. It really helps this channel get to where it wants to get to. But Jack, before we kind of get into our opinions here, you have a few interesting stats to you want to bring up.
Again, it just goes back to my point of view that yes, they all play the same positions, but what are they being asked to do? That's the most important thing that I think people struggle with. People love stats, but they live and die by stats, whereas actually you need to apply the context to the stats. So just a couple that really jump out to me. James, I'll give you a great example. I'll give you three numbers. You can tell me the order in which you think the players match up to these numbers. So passes completed. One player has 643. One player has 1,553. One player has 868. So who do you think is in which number? So first of all, most passes completed, 1,553. Which player do you think that is, James?
It has to be Rodri. It just has to be.
Ding, correct, right? Second most amount of passes completed, 868 this season. James, who do you think that is?
Thomas Partey.
Wow, shocker. Least amount of passes, completion percentage, 77.8%, 643 passes completed. James, who do you think that is?
Casemiro.
Right, shocker. Right, we go to defensive actions. James, who do you think has the most tackles, just out of curiosity?
Casemiro.
Correct. James, who do you think has the highest tackle percentage, success on tackles?
Casemiro.
Yeah, who do you think has the most interceptions, James?
Casemiro.
Who do you think has the most blocks, James?
Casemiro.
Who do you think has the most clearances, James?
Casemiro.
Again,
first of all, I hate that stat. The clearance.
No. Look, so do I. But the point is, and again, I know that was just kind of a stupid little quick-fire stats thing that we're doing there. But again, guys, the point is, and again, you guys can go look at this yourself. I really recommend fbref.com, footballreference.com. You can set up the comparison matrix. It's really good for that. But the reason why I'm giving you those stats is to look at somebody like Casemiro and say that he's not as good as Rodri, and Thomas Partey is not as good as Rodri because the passes aren't the same as Rodri's. Wow. It's not taken into account the whole picture. And while they play the same positions, the roles and their jobs as part of the team is totally different as well.
Yeah, just kind of go into debate. As Jack mentioned there's two different styles. Manchester United play more on the counter-attack and require a player like Casemiro to break up the play and then link it to the forward. That's why he literally everything out of possession, he seems to dominate. Rodri's main point of view is that he does break up play a lot. How many times do you see him take cynical fouls here or there to stop attacks and interfering with play? But his main thing for Manchester City is to keep that ball moving, And I think Partey kind of fits in the middle between both of them, Jack. Where
Yes.
Partey is very good on the ball, as you can see, he's like he's second in passes completed ball. So I guarantee, if you look at the rest of the stats of tackles, blocks, all that sort of stuff there, he's probably second in there. Where he has to do a little bit more, as in also control possession. But I don't think we control his possession as well as Manchester, like as well as like Manchester City does. So he's asked, to do a bit more there. The one thing for me when I talk about influence, and they all influence the game for their team, but Casemiro, what he has done to this Manchester United team, forget about what he does on and off the ball. I think what he's brought to this Manchester United team, mainly for me, is that mentality side. Jack, it's to me absurd what
And
he's
just
been able to
just
do.
quickly to kind of, I guess, back up your point here. Any of the guys at the Athletic, Laurie Whitwell, any of those guys who've discussed this recently on articles, reports, and that kind of thing, things that they've written. The backroom staff and the hierarchy at Manchester United cannot speak. Like, they're amazed at it. And like you said, it's not just the playing ability, which we know is exemplary. It's that other bit. It's the change in the mentality. It's the positive attitude. It's getting on with everybody. It's being a winner. It's being a good professional. And it's those intangibles which have made the Manchester United team as good as they are. And he's a huge contributor to that. Huge.
Massive. Like the the 5 Champions League wins. Sorry, I'm sorry, Casemiro. He's like he's a winner. The thing I love the Casemiro does for his Manchester United team is that, to me, it's the passion, Jack. How many times do you see when he scores a goal? This guy was won Champions League, expecting to come in. I scored, or my team scored. Jack, he's right there with the fans. He's
Right.
at it. He's given like it's. I think there was a great image of he was injured during the Manchester derby, and then he was asked to come off, and like one of the medical staff took him off the field, and he was saying, "Get off me! I want to get back on the field because Man City were on the attack." And the player, to show that sort of intensity while being hurt, to come back on the field as a Manchester United fan, you must be thinking, "Man, where did we get this guy from?" To me, what he's done to Manchester United team, it's what he's done when he's on the field. But that mentality switch has been incredible. But also, let me take it to Thomas Partey, Jack, and this is one that stands out for me. Our biggest thing for Arsenal fans is that we're just getting Thomas Partey fit. The rest of the football world, when we watch him, we knew what he was about. The rest of the
Right.
football world didn't understand. They were saying, but we were saying Partey's better than him. Partey's better than him because we knew it. Because when he was on the field, Jack, he showed it. But the problem was for Thomas Partey is that, Jack, his hamstrings were like tissue. It's just a quick little whoop, and he's and like he was done. But for some great reason, this year he's been able to stay fit. And Jack, you see the difference in this team. The best thing for me is that he's been able to play as a single pivot on his own, being able to cover that much ground. And Jack, not only that, you mentioned to the point of view, he covers ground and he intercepts. But Jack, on the ball, he is one of the best in the world at picking out these passes, Jack. Like, how many times have I seen him for Arsenal? Teams are on the attack. He intercepts, not only intercepts, but he's playing that forward pass into an Odegaard, into a Saka, out wide to out wide to Granit Xhaka, or not out wide to Saka. But yeah, go on, Jack.
Martinelli. But like, look, I think you're right. And again, James, like, I've listed a bunch of stats just as we got started here. What's the statistical category for playing a really difficult pass as a single pivot through the lines to somebody else? Like, maybe there's a statistical category from Opta or somebody like that with progressive passes, maybe from the central third to the attacking third. Maybe that stat exists somewhere, right? That's quite a niche stat, right? When we talk about Rodri's passes, what are we really talking about? Now, again, I don't think that Rodri's incapable of playing killer balls and doing all this kind of stuff, passing through the lines and stuff. But you've just mentioned that about Partey there. What I will say is Thomas Partey will be different to Rodri and different to Casemiro because a lot of his influence is not statistically viable. It's not statistically impressive. And I'll give you a great example by what I mean by that. There is a statistic that people look at called team success, right? Now, team success can be broken down with plus or minuses on goals, victories, all this kind of stuff. Casemiro, Rodri, Thomas Partey, and James, arguably, this is the most important statistical category because it's goals win games. Thomas Partey has the highest difference between goals conceded and goals scored when he is on the pitch compared to Rodri and Casemiro.
Wow.
So he is plus 29. So they have 29 more. If you put the goals and the goals conceded together in one number, he's plus 29, Rodri's 25, and Casemiro is 11. So again, you want to talk about influence. That's when he is playing in the game. That is what changes, and that's on a minute-by-minute basis. So if he's subbed off, anything that happens there isn't included. So that's a serious plus point.
Well,
just to kind of, I guess, get into the actual debate and the argument, I guess. For me, maybe the only thing I can think of is Pep might prefer Rodri to any of the other guys. But my overarching opinion is you put Casemiro in that Arsenal team, you put Casemiro in that Man City team, you put Casemiro in that Manchester United team. He's going to either be the best fit. I think Casemiro would be the best fit in the Arsenal holding midfield role and the Manchester United role. Maybe he's second to Rodri in the Man City role compared to the other guys. That's just my personal view. I think we know that he's a leader, he's a winner, all this stuff. You and I have joked about the fact the Premier League are like, wow, this Casemiro guy is pretty good. It's like, guys, have you not been watching football for the last 10 years? The guy's amazing. Like,
Jack, that is the maddest thing for me.
Nuts.
English football fans, when they like when they were talking about Casemiro joining Manchester, like, oh, is he really that good? He's playing next to
he's past it.
Modric, all that sort of stuff. He's old, he's coming here for the money, all that sort of stuff. There is he really? He's a bit of a steady Eddie, as they say. If you know football, generally, if you've watched football, yeah, I'm talking about La Ligas, Bundesliga, all that type of stuff, you would know that Casemiro, for a good 4, 5, 6 years, was the best defensive midfielder in the world. Yeah,
even at Porto, right, as well. Even at Porto. There's a reason why he got signed for Real Madrid and played as part of the best midfield three we've seen in years.
I feel like the craziest bit is that people just say he's next to Modric and Kroos, but people don't remember
which helps.
Which does help. But there was a game where Kroos, Modric, and James Rodriguez played against Barcelona. This was without Messi. They got battered 4-0. Yeah, right. They got battered 4-0. Obviously, Benitez got sacked. Zidane came in, and like Zidane's first thing was to bring Casemiro into that team. And Casemiro was a guy that made everything thick. He was able to make Kroos be a lot more comfortable in play, to be a lot more comfortable for Modric to play. He was the glue in that team, and it's just good that he's getting his flowers right now for the rest of the English a lot, so they kind of know, okay, this guy's special because he's always been like that. But
James, what's your reaction to that? So I think overall Casemiro is the best player. To me, it's not particularly close. The only thing I'll maybe concede is that in the Man City team, what Man City are asked of them, and I guess general Man City fans might prefer a Rodri in there. To me, though, and again, this sounds like super disrespectful. I think Thomas Partey is probably the second best if he were playing in the Arsenal team behind Casemiro. I'd say Rodri's probably last. For Manchester United, I'd say Partey is probably second there. And then for Man City, maybe he's second as well. So maybe he's second in each of the categories. But to me, Casemiro is top in two of them and maybe second or third in one of them. I don't know what you think.
Jack, this is just my preference. I think Casemiro is number one. I think he's been the best at his position for a number of years right now. I think Thomas Partey second. And the reason why I say Thomas Partey second, this is just my preference. I like my defensive midfielders to be very mobile. I'm not saying Rodri isn't mobile, but if the game does get stretched at a certain point, I've seen Rodri get caught out on a number of
I agree with you. The Manchester United and Arsenal setups, I think Rodri's last, right? The thing I'm most interested in, if you're Pep and you get a like for like game by game swap, are you probably going to keep Rodri? Or would you take Casemiro? Would you take a Partey? What would you do there?
I think in a Pep team, I think Partey starts ahead of Casemiro.
Do you really? You might be right. I'm not against. I don't hate that.
Like obviously, I think Casemiro is the number one guy, but in terms of style of play and being comfortable on the ball, listen, you can have a debate that Partey is the most comfortable player on the ball. Like Jack, he can do a lot more to the point of view, like he can drive his team forward. I'm not saying, listen, they all can do their bit, but on the ball, I think Partey can do a little bit more. I'm talking of distance of pass, short to long, and then drive the ball forward by taking it forward and like breaking lines. I just think Partey does a little bit more.
I don't hate that. I would tend to agree with you. And again, guys, you know, if it's not me saying it, it's James probably referencing it a little bit. What do we love on box to box football? We love context, we love environment, we love actually adding what is happening in the situation to have an opinion on the situation. Which player is benefiting most from the team that they play in, the manager that they play with, to allow themselves to be good? Because it's not Casemiro and it's not Thomas Partey.
Do you know what it
Rodri is the one benefiting most from playing under Pep, from playing with this Man City team. Casemiro and Thomas Partey are the ones who, okay, their system's good, but they are more malleable. They have more overall talent and can play in more systems.
You know what it is? And this might sound like a diss, it's not. But Rodri reminds me of a lesser version of a Sergio Busquets. I think he's great on the ball, but Busquets on the ball is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, everything else, you know, I think he does it half as well as what Sergio Busquets, but that doesn't say he does it to a bad level, but he's just a lesser version. And compared to the others, I feel like they may offer a little bit more in different areas. But guys, we've been going back and forth about this debate for a while, so I'm going to end this video here. You've gotten a lot of different points, right? I want to hear from Manchester City fans. Have we been a bit disrespectful to Rodri, Manchester United fans about Casemiro, and Arsenal fans? Let me know about Thomas Partey. Who are you picking? All the neutrals. That's what we want to hear. Not from actual
come on, neutrals. Back us up.
Of all them teams fans. We want to hear from neutrals. Who wins? Comment down below. Let us know. Give us 1, 2, and 3. Please hit that subscribe button, and we will see you guys next time.